Now to the unemployment maze. Many people trying to get benefits are hitting a glitch in the system that is preventing them from claiming their weeks of money. On your side's Jocelyn Howard is here to explain that glitch to us and potentially how you can get around it.
The new calendar quarter, which started last week, has brought new problems. When many people go to claim their weeks, they're being asked to reapply for benefits, which is where this new glitch freezes them in their tracks.
And here I am again with a glitch in the system, trying to get through to the DEO.
Patricia Hilleglass follows Connect's directions to a T. She selects apply for benefits, answers a few questions, and
it pops up that you already have a claim that exists.
It immediately kicks back and says that I already have an effective claim.
And that existing claim is what's hindering these claimants and many others from moving forward in the process.
Try to figure out which bills you can postpone, which bills you can pay.
I asked the Department of Economic Opportunity how claimants can reapply for benefits after getting this message. I did not get a response.
So the frustrating thing is you can't email them, you can't call them, there's no one there to help you.
But we've learned a trick that sometimes works. Instead of trying to submit a new application in Connect, go back and use the PEGA website to file a new claim. This is what the PEGA website looks like. It was created by DEO months ago and was widely used when the Connect system was constantly failing. These people say learning tips and tricks around the issues and trying to just contact DEO has become their full-time job.
Not being fixed. There shouldn't have been glitches in the first place with the amount of money that Floridians paid into.
Pay into the system and not get out of the system is extremely frustrating.
Jocelyn Howard, First Coast News, on your side.